Hi, my name is Noah, and welcome to Channel Capitalism, a video essay channel dedicated to quality educational content. Over the last few years, a lot of great video essays have come around analyzing subjects such as film, social sciences, and philosophy. While I think these subjects are a home for great learning and insight, I find a lot of exciting topics are still left unexplored by the video essay format. For this channel, I'd like to focus on some less explored mediums. Specifically, to start with, in this essay, I'd like to talk about video games. As my first topic in video games, I'd like to discuss one of my favorite games from the last few years, Wolfenstein: The New Order by Machine Games. Specifically, I'd like to analyze its methods of telling stories in the medium of video games, notably how it uses interactive functions of games as a storytelling device. I think a lot of gaming enthusiasts today overlook how important it is for games to differentiate themselves as a storytelling medium. Using cutscenes in a similar means to film, and having walls of text in relation to literature is fine, but these devices of communication aren't what make games unique or special. Interaction does. From my point of view, consciously or unconsciously, these ideas found their way into the design philosophy set forth by Machine Games. To simply put it, the design must meld elements of storytelling and gameplay to work within one another as a means to make a unified experience. Specifically, the New Order uses ideas of action, exploration, and environmental storytelling as a means to express more of its protagonists, characters, and world. To most, the concept of environmental storytelling will be familiar, so we'll start there. To quickly summarize to the uninitiated though, environmental storytelling is when a game communicates tone, feeling, status, and similar ideas to the player by the portrayal of the level environment. The game's second level, Asylum, is a great example of environmental storytelling at work. Immediately you find the asylum is in desolation. Blood decorates the walls and floor, along with broken glass. Bodies of other patients are in their beds, and some still screaming in the background. Without the game telling you anything directly, you can quickly put together what exactly happened in only a few bloody seconds. As the player explores further, they'll understand the state many of the patients lived in there. In an interesting act of genre retelling, Machine Games uses the retro FPS mechanic of secrets as a way to tell the player more story within the world. They do this while at the same time rewarding the player with the same player resources they would expect from the shooters from the 1990s that established this idea. To me, I see Machine Games' use of secrets as an interesting method of retooling a familiar mechanic as a way to further communicate their narrative, which leads me into my next point. Exploration as a means of telling narrative, specifically in worlds and character. Exploration was core to the original shooters of the 1990s. Players moved through non-linear environments with many different rooms, hallways, nooks, and crannies. Due to the punishing difficulty of those original FPS titles, players had to explore the levels deeply, asked to find resources to restore health and armor, as well as replenish ammo. These areas are what came to be called secrets, as they were typically hidden behind an off-color wall or a painting that's perceived solid state was only an illusion. In the New Order, Machine Games not only used this concept again in modern FPS, but employed it in a new fashion. When you find Harry Potter's summer home and asylum, you will find a typical resource expected in the area, ammo and medkits. But you also find a letter from a staff member of the asylum. It's able to fill in some of the backstory of the institution, as well as how the world has changed around that character. This idea is represented again throughout the campaign. Hidden letters are in every level with new backstory of the greater lore. Other documents and newspaper clippings can also be found filling out the lore of the game. Altogether, this is something small in the larger narrative of the New Order, and the idea of putting lore within in-game documents isn't new either. Yet, using older systems and mechanics to inspire new ones within a genre is always worth noting. Machine Games even brought this idea to one final point at which player actions inform their understanding of their protagonist. The protagonist in this case is series veteran Captain B.J. Blazkowicz. Originally a strong silent type, Machine Games had a notable challenge in front of them in developing a character that had largely no character until now. Core character pieces of personality, values, and motivations were left unexplored or underdeveloped in previous Wolfenstein titles. To develop Captain Blazkowicz as a character, Machine Games employed the use of inner monologues. They're used as a way to communicate Captain Blazkowicz's views of himself, his allies, the world, and the new enemy he faces. It allows the player to understand his mental state and his motivations throughout the story. These monologues are essentially the protagonist's own reactions to the player's actions as well as certain set pieces within the game's narrative. The acts of shooting, stalking, sneaking, exploring, and basic interaction all work as triggers from the player's end. Like the conversations between Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us, the monologues serve as a means of developing the character while not interrupting the gameplay experience at the same time. As an example, I'd like to present this moment from the game's third level, A New World. It takes a moment to go ahead and show the lighter side of Captain Blazkowicz through his sense of humor.
How you doing? darling, how about we go for a spin? Okay, back to work.
Every year, I come back and play Wolfenstein: The New Order at least once. I find myself coming back to it every year for two reasons. For one, it's one of my favorite games, but that's not the big reason. The biggest reason is because it reminds me of something more important than that. It reminds me of the importance of the little innovations in games. Doing small but important changes in the fundamentals in how we not only play, but also experience games. And it's in those little changes that the industry not only begins to evolve, but also reach its full potential. Hey everyone, this is Noah, or Capitalism. I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you for watching the video, and that I was just hoping that anybody who watched it could go ahead and leave some constructive criticism in the comments. This is the first essay what I hope to be will end up being a longer running series. Currently right now I want to keep trying to talk about games and other topics like that, but if I'm going to expand to anything else remains to be seen. Just anything that you could have in sort of constructive criticism though would be really appreciated right now. I'm trying to get this series to be as good as I can get it, so if you have any notes on anything like the writing, editing, the footage, the audio quality, the music, anything like that, visual effects, animations, please say so in the comments. And, for the first time, thanks for watching.